This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Transformation with Tara Sutphen. Tara Sutphen is the author of Blame It on Your Past Lives and Soul Agreements, 3 audio CD series, metaphysical meditations, sourcing series, and sleep programming. Tara has also collaborated with Emmy Award-winning Shane Stanley and Marla Maples on numerous DVDs. Tara Sutphen is a master in the psychic sciences. If you'd like to find out more about Tara's work, upcoming seminars, and meditations to help you fulfill your dreams, visit her website at tarasutphen.com.
Welcome to Transformations with Tara. This is Tara Sutphen. And today my guest is Patti Stanger. And she's the Millionaire Matchmaker. And she is world-renowned for love and relationships. And she's the best of the best. Very incomparable on the subject of love. Welcome, Patti Stanger.
Hi, how are you? Glad
Good.
you're so excited.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks.
So anyway, can you tell everybody, I mean, they probably already know where you started. What was the very inkling beginnings of you being a matchmaker?
I think it was my grandmother and my mother doing it for the local community, and I just naturally had a gift, how to bring 2 people together. Couldn't always do it for myself, but could do it for friends. And I think 7th grade was my first match. It was my best friend in junior high, Carrie Berman. And we would go to these dances over at the church, and I kind of connected everyone. I was a busybody.
Oh, that's so fun, though.
Mm-hmm.
And so you started very early. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I was very not shy when talking to people. I couldn't go up to a boy myself, but I could do it for somebody else. Yeah.
Mm. Well, isn't that kind of the way anyway, that our friends really help us in the world? I mean, as far as promotion, to where it's just so hard to do it yourself. I mean,
it's one of the things that there's not enough matchmakers in the world, and I pray every day that more come down to earth, if nothing else, and that, they don't have this in college. You can't go major at this. It's a very hard way to find. You got to find a matchmaker that's good and shadow them. But now there's the Matchmakers Institute in New York City, which is the only certification globally. Lisa Clampett is my old assistant, created this institution to train matchmakers, and you can do it not just in person in New York, you can do it via Skype. You can take the training online. I mean, it's a great way to get your accreditation and then open your office. So there is a business starting. It's just not the major in college campuses yet, which hopefully maybe it'll be on the curriculum, in the next few years.
Yeah, because it's so hard to meet people because, of course, people go out all the time thinking, that you're going to meet somebody. And so we've now gone to the whole Internet dating.
Right.
Well, that at least gives a filter.
I think that the Internet online digital love system is a wonderful place to be. I mean, you meet people every day of your life, but you don't always meet the one you want, and you might be 6 degrees away from him in a different city or a different neighborhood. And you wouldn't have met him had you not gone online. So I think it's great that there's Tinder and Match and Plenty of Fish and all these great sites. I have no issues with that. I always say mix it up, do at least 3 sites at once, and find a niche site. So if you're religious, you're going to do like a J-Date or Christian Singles, or maybe you're going to do farmers if you're farmers, or you're going to do vegan singles, whatever floats your boat. Find the last site as the one that's the hobby site, because that's the glue usually in the relationship. We both like horses. We both like to ski. We both like to hike, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So now let's talk about formulas. We were talking about the languages of love.
Yes, 5 Languages of Love, which is a really important book. I recommend it highly. I think it's the starter kit. I believe it's the secrets to the relationship universe. Dr. Gary Chapman came up with an amazing system that I can't find one fault in it, and that's pretty good. Usually I'll read a book and I'll be like 80% is right and 20 is wrong. So there's 5 languages. The first language is touch. Second language is gift. Third language is acts of service. Affirmations of love. And the last language is time. And you need to take this test, single or married, doesn't matter which, and find out what's your primary, type of way you need to be loved and your secondary. And if your spouse or your mate or the guy you're dating is the opposite of you, it's okay as long as he loves you the way you need to be loved and you do the same for him. So it saves marriages because most of the time they're arguing about, I like sex when I come home from work and you don't want to be touched. So right then and there, we've got a disagreement right now. How do we bridge this gap? And it tells you whether the person really loves you or not. To be honest, because if they love you, they're going to love you in your language, and you're going to love them back in their language.
Yeah, I took the test, and it was very interesting what comes up as far as your primary, what you love. And, of course, you're all 5 of them, but it was very interesting.
I mean, you have various degrees of everyone, but the primary one and the secondary one could be very close, like maybe 2 points off. Like, for instance, I'm a touch person and I'm a gifts person. Does that mean I'm a gold digger? No. My dad in Green, as a kid, he was a salesman, and when he would go on the road, he'd bring me back a tchotchke, and I thought that was love. So it has to do with the formative years, like from 3 and under, what you were trained to love. If your mother was a very touchy-feely, maybe she breastfed you, you might be a touch person. You know what I mean? If she was the one that came in every 6 minutes and undid your diaper and always made sure you were clean, she might be an acts of service person, and then you feel love is acts of service, like take the garbage out, wash my car. So it's really got to do with your childhood, I think. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, interesting. Mine is quality of time. I think,
yes, because if you've had mates who haven't given you time, like you were an afterthought, then that becomes heightened as far as the senses go to being the one thing that makes you feel, needed and wanted and desired.
Well, I think it stems from my hanging out with my siblings, my brothers. I mean, I have my sister, too.
Well, you had to compete for affection. You probably had to compete for affection. There's too many people in the group, and nobody gave you enough time. I mean, mine, being touched, was shocking to me because I was never the hugger as a kid. But if a man didn't put his arm around me or kiss me or held me at the end of the day or spoon me at night, I thought he didn't like me. So I was shocked by mine because I thought mine was going to be acts of service, like you took the garbage out, and it wasn't.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine's way low, too, the acts of service.
And so my boyfriend is the opposite of me. And this is probably what we argue about all the time because he's acts of service and affirmations of love. And, he's not my style. So you have to work harder on it. And then I think when you go into therapy, you bring these languages of love to the therapist, and then the therapist tries to mend the fence and give you tasks on how to bridge the gap so you both feel wanted and loved and desired. I think it's important that therapists know this.
Right. Well, I mean, gifts can be just making eggs and, making over somebody.
Gifts can be a poem on the pillow. Gifts can be like, I saw a book for you, an e-greeting. There's a million things that gifts are. Gifts doesn't have to be, I went and bought you the Birkin bag. That's not what we're talking about. It's just like, I'll give you an example. I am gifts. So my ex-fiancé went to a big street festival and said, I bought you the best gift ever. And I was so excited to open the box, and it was pepper spray. He had bought me like a safe kit. So if God forbid anyone tried to hurt me in my car or my home, there was the kit. At first I thought, what? But then I realized, oh my God, he wants me protected. That was sweet.
Yeah.
And I put it on my keychain, and then there was a book on like how to get, like if you got stuck in your car on a highway, what would you do? Like all these things that I would never think of to keep safe. So the gift from the person may not be exactly the gift you want, but there's a reason why they're giving it to you, and you have to look at the meaning, the symbolism behind it.
Right. So how do you tell people, like when they're, people look for love, they're looking and sometimes they just close off where they become unattached and unavailable, but yet they feel that they're still working on it. What are some of the keys as far as trying to
get there from where
step
they are?
out there? Yes, step out of yourself to get there.
Well, I think the one thing you have to do is go internal versus external. Yes, we're going to do a self-check on us, whether we need to change our wardrobe, hair, makeup, whatever. That's standard because, you're working most times with the opposite sex, even though there is same-sex relationships. You still got to look good. But before you look good, you got to feel good. So I'm all about meditation, hypnosis, past life regression, and that's why I went to you because, I had a block, and I couldn't figure out what the block was. And it was beyond my senses. It wasn't something I couldn't see. I was adopted as a child. I had a history of abandonment. It kept resurfacing with the men that I was picking. My dad was an abusive alcoholic, blamed me for losing his money, and basically I figured out that I was taking all the stray cats home to mend the fence that my dad made me feel bad about. And so I feel meditation quiets the mind down. It lowers the stress level, which stress is not going to bring you love. That repels it. And the cortisol levels go down. So your stomach gets flat. You feel better. The serotonin and the dopamine increases. This is all science. And then what happens is you start to get clarity. Now, sometimes clarity can be as simple as an aha moment, like Oprah says, and you just say, wow, why didn't I ever see that before? It's because your mind, your left and your right brain are in sync to make the proper assessment of the problem and come up with a really clear solution that fits what you need. So hypnosis, meditation, and past life regression is key. I'm a big believer in all those. And then the next thing is exercise. If the endorphins are flowing, it's not about losing weight as much as feeling good. Then when you feel good, you attract another feeling good person. And that is law of attraction. We all know what is likened to itself is drawn. So the more you feel good, the less you're going to accept the ones that aren't right for you. And it's okay to say no. That's another thing. Because we're women and there aren't enough men out there in the world, we're always like, oh, my God, we'll take whatever we get. No. No. Men are going to come like buses every 10 minutes. And you have the right to say, no, thank you. He's not right for me. I'm deciphering this. The more you go into meditation, the less time you're going to spend with the looky-loos. You're going to see them right in your field, like at the grocery store, at the gas line. And he's going to hit on you. You're going to go, nope, that's like my old boyfriend. I'm not going there. You're going to assess quicker because you're in the clarity zone.
Right. Love the clarity zone. But, so many people just don't feel that they're even beginning to get into any sort of clarity zone when it comes. You wait for someone to be attracted to you.
This business of, the one has got to stop because there's more than one life mate. The second thing is that when you are taught as a little girl the fairy tale Cinderella complex, I'm Jewish, so I was taught the Beshert story. Beshert means meant to be, that the soul comes down to earth, it's male, female, it splits in two, and it goes down the guff, and then somehow, right before I turn 25, I miraculously find this prince. Well, it didn't happen. And there are more women today crying in their soup over this. And the Jewish religion perpetuates, just like Mormon religion, having as many babies as you can to keep the religion afloat, and if you are not a baby maker by 25, you're dead. You know what I mean? You're nobody. You're useless. That's crap. Everybody goes at a different pace. Some people are late bloomers. Gloria Steinem did not get married till she was in her late 50s to Christian Bale's father. Okay? Sometimes your soulmate comes early, sometimes it comes later, but there's more than one. And we have various degrees of agreements that we make on the other side with different life mates. And sometimes it's just to have a baby, to get together for a purpose, for a project, working together, to marry, to move in. And sometimes it doesn't. You don't resonate at the same frequency, at the same speed. So sometimes you outgrow people, Like when the marriage contract was made, till death do us part, it doesn't mean till physical death. It means till there's no growth of the soul. And we can't be together anymore because you're impeding my progress. That's okay. That's what divorce is for. But this business of you feeling like there's the one with the pressure on it, you got to stop. Dating is supposed to be an enjoyable task. A man takes a woman out for dinner. He gets beautiful company. She gets a lovely meal. He tells her she's pretty. She says, thank you so much for taking me out. He feels good. What about just going out and enjoying the evening? Where is it written that you have to say that to your husband? Too much pressure.
That's where I think it is that why do you have to get so serious?
Right.
It's enjoying that moment
right.
and enjoying somebody.
I had a famous person on the phone last night, very famous from Bravo, and she was crying in her soup because she was 44 and she wants a baby, and her eggs are drying up. So she didn't get time to freeze the eggs, which, by the way, I really recommend right now for younger girls. Go and freeze your eggs, takes the pressure off. But in my generation, in your time, we didn't have that luxury. So she's panicked. Now, the good news is there's various different ways to have babies today. You can have it through surrogacy. You can adopt. You know, there's a million ways. You can do in vitro, even in the 40s. So what happened is I said, do you want the man or do you want the baby? She goes, I want both. I said, what if you can't have both? Pick one. She goes, I want a baby. Okay, I said, okay, great. Let's take a year off. Let's date for a year. If it doesn't happen on your 45th birthday, you'll take one of those 3 avenues to have a baby alone. And then she stopped crying. She's like, why didn't I do this? Because we're putting pressure on ourselves. Okay, give yourself a chance to get off the hook. Take a step back. You know,
right,
assess,
and you gave her solutions.
Assess what you really want. Sometimes you can't have everything. Money, man, baby. You can't have it all at one time, as Oprah says. But what you can do is you can decide what's your main priority. Her priority was the baby before the man, and she didn't want to admit it. I said, how do you feel having a baby alone? She says, I feel fine. I have enough money. I said, okay, there you go. Let's give a year to date. Dating doesn't work out, then you're going to get a baby on your 45th birthday.
Right.
I think what everybody has to do is take an evaluation, an internal evaluation of themselves for the next year. You know, we just passed the Happy New Year mark, and say, what do I really want for this year in the love department? What do we want? Do we want to get married? Maybe the guy you're dating is not the guy who wants to get married as much as you, and maybe you're going to have to leave him to find the one that wants to get married. Because the more you spend with someone who doesn't want what you want, the more unhappier you're going to get. Because that's resistance.
Right.
And you have to love yourself first. That's the greatest love of all. I was just reading my favorite book recently, True Love by J.Lo. I love Jennifer Lopez's new book because you thought she had it all. You just thought she had it all. No matter what she did, there was a man, and they loved her, and it turns out she didn't have it all. And she said, I was always afraid to be alone. And she's got 2 kids, and, you know, both exes are gone, and Ben Affleck was the love of her life, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, this is my year to be single, and I'm not going to let flirting happen. I'm not going to go in the love department. I'm just going to work on me. And I was so proud of her, 45 years old, to say that statement. It's not easy when you're in your 40s, and let alone being a celebrity and being under the microscope. And it's like she realized the first love was her, you know, and she had to put her kids first and work her ass off to make money to support the family. You know, she's a working single mom. That's the hardest job in the world. And I thought, wow. I started looking at her like she's my hero now because it's not easy doing that, and yet she's doing it. Yeah. We have to look at ourselves, what makes us happy, and sometimes that means separating from the pack and going it alone. It's okay to be alone.
Well, and allowing yourself to be fabulous and not sad or depressed or
and one
or
thing
silly.
happens when you declutter, you know, your house, so to speak, when you get rid of all the riffraff, when you stop dating the losers because you're afraid to be alone on a Saturday night, when you spend a Valentine's Day maybe with your chicks and doing a pajama party because there are no good men at that moment asking you out, and you start to internalize what makes you happy, like going to the movies, walking on the beach, petting your dog, whatever you do to make you happy, that's when the mates really show up. That's when they show up because you're working on you and your mind is they say that, you know, when I wasn't looking, I found him. That's not what it really means. It means it was always there that I wanted love. But when I took my eye off the ball, which is the opposite of sports, by the way, and I started to focus on what I was doing, it showed up. And that's what always happens. I've never not seen that happen before because you're not focused on the lack. You're first focused on the glass half full. You're saying to yourself, good, okay, so he's not showing up, love's not happening, I want to travel this year, you know. I want to get more involved in my projects at work. You know, I want to lose weight and exercise. I'm getting into me now. Fuck him, right? And then what happens is he shows up because you're not focused on him anymore. You're not screaming to God that he's not here.
Right. No, it's really important not getting into that total zone of anxiety. You know, there's many people who do, of course.
I do Abraham Hicks for now since 1989. I was a big law of attraction junkie, and nobody knew what it was. It was before The Secret. My parents thought I was nuts. And, you know, Esther and Jerry really set the tone for me. And yet I manifested everything, but the love thing was the one thing I always had the hardest trouble with because it was the one I had the most resistance on. And so I was listening to the CD the other day, The Vortex, and I'm a big fan of, like, listening on YouTube for her and going to her seminars. And the one thing she would say is you got to get on a high-flying disc. When you're on a high-flying disc, You're happy. You're in joy zone. It's not going to be 24/7 joy because nobody could stay on that high-flying disc 24/7. But every time it throws you off, something goes wrong at work, at home, you have a health crisis, you don't have enough money, you got to look at what you appreciate in your life and focus on that. So maybe you don't have love, but you have a lot of money in the bank. You've got great health. You look great. You're in shape. You're ready for love, but he's just not there. You got to appreciate all those things that are happening and say to God, thank you. And I believe in appreciation manual. I believe every morning in your journal you write down 5 things for the day you're appreciating and 5 things at night you appreciate. And sooner or later, appreciation blends into your desires and they manifest. Because then there's no resistance. Yeah. There's no resistance anymore. You have no contrast anymore.
Right. Now, when we're doing meditation, say, let's talk about when you do meditation, when you're writing down those gratitudes, say 5 things of gratitude. Sometimes it's faking it until you make it.
Right. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to get on a focus wheel. And the focus wheel is like, basically saying, okay, I feel like crap right now. I can't find one thing that feels good. One thing that feels good. Okay? So I'm a believer in turning the music on. This is the quickest, fastest way to get you to the place of happiness. So you need to take music that doesn't make you sad, that makes you happy. So I'm a big Spotify person. I make a top 10 happy list, whether it's I'm Walking on Sunshine to Boogie Woogie from Earth, Wind, and Fire. I have my favorites, okay? And when I'm depressed, as low as I go, I put that music on. And somehow, no matter what I'm depressed about, it lifts because it's music. It's inspiring. It gives me memories. There are memories from this music at times in my life where I was flying high, and they just start flooding back to me. And then I'm in the zone. You're in the zone. You're in the vortex. Which the vortex is the place of all possibilities. Every single thing that you have ever desired is in that vortex.
I love it.
So you can't, so there's no resistance, but you got to get there. So how do you get there from there? So it's as simple as petting your dog, taking a bath, eating a piece of chocolate, eating that Cheesecake Factory delicious piece of cheesecake and saying, I don't care about my weight today. I'm just going to indulge. And that's going to get you there. It's simple Sally syrup. We make it so complicated,
Right. But we can't do that every day. Eat the cheesecake.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like
thing.
I'm saying, things that make you feel good that doesn't hurt yourself. For instance, like maybe it's taking a walk around your neighborhood and looking how beautiful where you live. Maybe it's as simple as watching I'm a big fan of watch comedies, romantic comedies. If you're in a depressing, unromantic place, turn on your favorite top 10 romantic comedies. And you just can't not get happy in Sleepless in Seattle or, there's a million movies I can't think of right now, but I know what I'm talking about. Harry Met Sally. You know what I mean? You can't not get there. Annie Hall.
Right.
Which makes you laugh. And it can be current ones, old ones, it doesn't matter. But it's going to get you to that place if she can do it, so can I. The other thing that I'm a big fan of is reading the wedding announcements and the engagement announcements. You're over 40. You feel like there are no men in the world. Go read the wedding announcements in your local newspaper, online, whatever, and see how many women over 40 are getting married. And you would be surprised how many there are. It gives you hope. If she can do it, so can I. The other thing is finding a role model. Do you have a role model? Do you have a couple that you would like to be? Now, if you can't find a couple in your family or your friends or your coworkers, you can take celebrities because the mind does not know what's imagined and which is real. You may not know what's going on really in their lives, but to the naked eye, they look perfect. Tom Hanks, Rita Wilson 101. Make your favorite couple what you want to be and draw that essence to you. It's the target that you're looking for, so you can zero in on it.
Yeah, I love that concept that your mind really doesn't know it's real.
Mind doesn't know it's real. So sometimes I'll tell girls, who's your celebrity crush? And they'll say, oh, it's Brad Pitt. And people will go, oh, you'll never get Brad Pitt. And I said, it doesn't matter. If Brad Pitt's your celebrity crush, then he's the guy that you're going to visualize every night before you go to bed. You're having this wonderful interlude with. And sooner or later, something's going to happen which he has a smile like Brad Pitt. He's as tall as Brad Pitt. He has hair like Brad Pitt. And my girls come back and they go, oh, my God, this is the weirdest thing. Brad Pitt was my super crush, and this guy kind of looks like him. When I train girls to get deep. The thing is, you have to do these techniques. If you just sit still, couch potato it, nothing's going to come to you. You got to do the work. And the work is internal, not external. Then when you've got the internal set up, then you take an evaluation look in the mirror and you do what I teach on the show. You know, do I need to lose weight? Do I need to change my wardrobe? Should I change my hair color? Should I cut my hair? Should I get a spray tan? Should I get, eyelash extensions? Whatever. Then you can do that. But not until the internal work is done first, because it won't match if you don't. You'll still be, if you do the physical stuff first, you're going to go out to the bars and you're going to look great, but you're going to feel like crap and attract the guy that feels like crap who takes you down.
Yeah, that's great advice too. As far as it's not just external that we need to work on, it's both. Feeling good enough to whereas the external just kind of glows.
Yeah. Okay. So that being said, the secret is to really I take a 90-day detox after breaking up with somebody, and I take 90 days where I don't take reservations. 90 days where I don't date and I take reservations, so that for 90 days nobody can date me. I take myself off the hook. It's like a cleanse. And then if the people start wanting to date me in the 90 days, I push it to the end of that 90-day detox, because I got to get clear first. I'm not good for anyone else if I'm still hung up on the ex.
Right. We should take a commercial break.
Okay.
We should talk about that when we come
great.
back.
Let's take a commercial break.
Pardon?
Let's take a commercial break and come back about that.
All right. And you are listening to Tara Sutphen, Transformations with Tara, and I am talking to Patti Stanger, the Millionaire Matchmaker. We'll be right back.
We all have amazing talents and knowledge that should be shared with the world. Become a host on Contact Talk Radio and help spread your insight and wisdom. Help others grow as you grow your business and reach a level of connection far greater than you could reach on your own. Take the first step and learn more by visiting contacttalkradio.com or contact Cameron at 425-221-3646. Continue to spread the word about the importance of conscious living. Did you know that you can rate our shows on iTunes? Yep, you can share your thoughts about the topics, the hosts, and the special guests. You can also leave a suggestion. Then, when you're done, rate the show. The hosts love your feedback, and others appreciate it. So next time you download a show, take a second to leave your thoughts and rate it. If you want to stay on top of everything that's happening at Contact Talk Radio, there's no simpler way than following us on Twitter. You'll know what shows are currently playing, who the special guests are, what topics are being discussed. The information is always fresh. You can follow us on Twitter by going to twitter.com/CTR Network. It's easy. Again, that's twitter.com/CTR Network. Better living is just a tweet away.
Welcome to Transformation with Tara Sutphen. Become involved now by calling 877-230-3062.
Welcome back to Transformations with Tara. This is Tara Sutphen, and I'm talking to Patti Stanger, the Millionaire Matchmaker. And Patti, how does everybody... you don't really take clients right now, right? Because I take millionaires. I take millionaires.
Millionaires.
Yeah. Okay.
I have another division that takes the women, another division that takes gay men and gay women. But I'm mostly focused on men millionaires, and then my partner does the women. Yeah. I mean, we still take clients now, sure. Millionaires Club is still active, still in business, always will be. It's my bread and butter. Mm-hmm.
Great. So what is the website for that?
That's the Millionaires Club, 123.com. There's an S in Millionaires Club, 123.com. You can register for free if you're a non-millionaire or millionairess. And if you're a millionaire or millionairess, just go to info@millionairesclub123.com and email me, and I'll take care of you.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I also have a new program that just came out. A lot of people can't afford me. so they need my advice, and they want to know what I give my VIP clients. And we just came up with the SingleGirlsHandbook.com, which is an audio version series of me giving you really a 365 map to love. And it teaches you how to get your husband, where is he, like there's a matchmaking map in there, how to close the deal to negotiating monogamy all the way to the ring, everything. It's like the secret sauce.
Right. Now, a lot of girls date, and then they don't get to closing the deal. What do you think those expectations are?
I think a lot of people have this illusion of who they belong with. So a lot of times you're picking wrong. You know, women attract wrong, men pick wrong. And so they don't get the message. Either they say some people date out of their own league. Well, some people do date out of their own league. I mean, the expectations are way too high. I don't believe in giving a man more than a year if you want to get married. 4 seasons is the maximum. And negotiation stage needs to start at, good month 9. At 6 months, he must tell you he loves you. If he doesn't, you're wasting your time. And don't force it out of him. There's, a lot of this is in Single Girls Handbook. But what's really interesting is that most people reach for things that aren't there. If a guy's not treating you really well and not coming back to you and asking you out and giving you Saturday night, he's not your guy. He's just not your guy. Next. Because why should you be treated poorly just to get a better-looking guy or more money? It's about how they make you feel, really. We were talking about meditation, and I have a website called attractingasoulmate.com. It's not just for people who want to attract a soulmate. It's also for people in relationships who want to harmonize their relationships. And in there is subliminal meditation. So when you're listening to the music, cleaning your house, driving your car, we actually have ones where you can drive your car. The music has suggestions in it to empower you, to tell you you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, that you do deserve the best and that you don't have to settle for less. And I think most people either settle for less or their expectations are out of whack.
Right, or they get together a little bit too fast. They settle.
Yeah, or they move at the speed of light because it's fun, especially when you're young. You're moving the speed of light, and you're not really looking at, like, I'm a Jew, he's a Christian. I'm not going to let the Christmas tree in the house, or one of the things like, God, I live in China and he lives in L.A. and neither one of us want to move to each other's city. Like, they're not looking at basic brass tacks facts. You really need to marry your best friend with great sex, obviously, and chemistry, but that you both have to want the same things at the same time. So if you want to get married and they don't for 5 years, you can't change them. You're just going to be fighting an uphill battle. It's better to move on to someone who's more in vibrational alignment with your desires.
Yes, because there's that old adage of that's really not being on the same page.
No.
But I always think that you need to at least be compatible in 2 areas, like spiritual meets spiritual, intellectual meets intellectual, emotions meet emotions. Your physical being, your hormones and pheromones meet. I mean, there has to be some kind of connection, but a lot of times, like when you're young, it's the pheromones and the hormones meeting, and then nothing else is connected. And, yet if we have a couple of those to start working from a basis from, because I think like men and women, I don't know if it's too much communication sometimes. If we don't want men to be men, and sometimes they don't want us to be too girly, and it's so much better if everybody just comes into kind of the pattern of, oh, well, girls like pink and baubles and, precious things, to whereas babies, and to whereas guys, they love their football and they love guy stuff, cars and...
Right. I mean, I'm not talking about the opposites of, like, you watch sports and you want to go to the mall. What I'm talking about is the basics. Like, pick your battles wisely. You're only going to get 51% at the end of the day, because eventually those things that you like about him are going to annoy you. It's just, living together with the opposite sex, as old as it's time, is hard. It's not easy. You know what I mean? You both are going to bump in the night, and you're going to have differences, and you're going to argue, and that's just part of the process. But at the end of the day, is his love for you deep enough to overcome those obstacles? Is your love for him deep enough to overcome those obstacles? Because when the real stuff happens, the crises, the healings, like with health crises and work crises and maybe losing your job or your home or whatever, that's when you really know who you're in the trenches with. You know what I mean? That's when you really find out what really love is all about. It's not about the fun stuff. And so at the end of the day, if you don't have those things in common, that will be the reason there's divorce. It's really sad. That's why we talked about the 5 languages of love being so important, because that really is the healing. If you don't love me in my language, I can't heal.
Yeah, they say that. What do you feel about this concept of they say what you were first attracted to about your boyfriend or spouse is what annoys you the most as time goes on?
Probably to a degree, but I don't really go there. I'm more of a chemistry person. I think the chemistry is what everyone thinks is the end all to be all, and that's really only a good 30%. There's so much more to a relationship, especially as you age, because you have more information and more wisdom, and the bar is too high at certain points. When you're younger, you'll take anything. When you get older, you're like, no way. I already learned my lessons. So I believe that, chemistry is when we throw everything away. If you haven't gotten laid in a long time, and he looks pretty good, and he's a good kisser, you'll give it up for a song, It's really sad. The more estrogen you have in your body, the more you're likely to make these mistakes, because the estrogen kind of messes with the clarity, and then oxytocin, the chemical that makes you think you're in love, starts to kick in. Now, the problem is men don't have oxytocin, That's why 2 gay men will hit it at sight. They don't have oxytocin. There's no downside. They're not going to fall in love in the morning. But women, oh my God, you touch, you smell, you kiss that woman, she's bonded. Bonded. She's already planning the wedding announcements. It's sad. That's when you know God was totally a man, because no woman would have given us that chemical.
Right. No man would have given us that chemical. No way.
No man would have said. No, I mean, a man is going to give you that chemical because then it keeps us in check. A female is not going to unempower us. The oxytocin agent disempowers us, because we can't make clear choices. That's why I say no sex before monogamy. It's not no sex before monogamy because I'm a prude. I love sex. Are you kidding? It's because you won't make wise choices in the morning. You could die. I've seen women stalk men to the point of no return, where they've ended up in prison and have died of a broken heart over one night stand.
Yeah, that's always kind of interesting.
Freaking True TV. You'll see it every day of the week.
Well, I mean,
Snapped
it's one thing to
that's
make
what Snapped is about. The TV show Snapped.
Yeah, or to have your celebrity crush and then you go. But the bottom line is that there are limitations in life, and it's not about giving up the vision. It's giving up a certain amount of
power. You don't want to give up your power. You want to be a boundaries girl. Last night's episode with Marisol talked about this. Boundaries girls are everything. They know their worth. They're not willing to settle. They're not unreasonable. They're not dictators or gold diggers. They're just basically people that say, this is what I'm worth. If you can't come to a compromise with me where I feel good, no, thank you. I'm not letting you pass my boundary.
Right. But I mean, it's a bit of mixed messages. It's just being in your own personal power, I think. Bringing that
when chemistry comes in,
being centered.
I don't agree with that, because when chemistry comes in, you got biology, and biology will rule the roost every single time over anything boundaries or intellectual. When chemistry comes in, all bets are off. And if you're young and you got a lot of estrogen flowing in you, you'll make poor choices based on chemistry. Because chemistry is undefinable. You can't quantify it. You can't qualify it. You can't even close it out. Because the truth of the matter is, you don't know why you're attracted to what you're attracted to. Some people have types, but 9 times out of 10, sometimes somebody comes along, blows your type out of the water, and you're attracted to them, and you don't know why. Because you can't put it under a microscope and look at it. Everybody's chemistry is different. It could be smell. It could be visual. It could be just auditory. Women fall in love between their ears. Man says the right thing to them with a sexy, deep voice. They're sold. That's biology. Can't take the science out of the equation.
Now, my producer, she is looking for love. Can we talk to her for a minute?
Sure,
Let's ask
no
her
problem.
what she's doing. So this is Barb. Barb,
hey, how are you?
Talk to us.
Hi, Patty.
How are you?
Oh, no, I was just totally connecting with what you said because I'm a total smell gal. When it comes to
Wait,
dating.
say that again. I didn't hear you. Say it again.
I'm a total smell gal. I totally connected with what you said.
So do you take your ex-boyfriend's T-shirts and smell them for a long time after you break up?
Smell my hair. Like afterwards, like after I could smell them on my hair and it'd be,
Okay, so the problem is that, for instance, if you break up with someone, you got to get rid of all the junk, and that means the clothing,
right? The sweatshirts,
anything related to them, their aftershave, anything. Because what's going to happen is you're going to still keep the memory stone in place, and you can't move forward to the new guy because you're still stuck on the old guy. Most times we're stuck on the old guy because of a memory that is being triggered by something.
Which is the smell.
Which is the smell.
Right,
yeah.
right. Which is interesting because probably 2 or 3 guys ago, the gentleman that I had dated right before my boyfriend it was a total chemical attraction. I mean, literally, like I couldn't stand the dude otherwise.
Right. And I had the same thing. I had, right after I broke up with my fiancé, I went after the anti-guy, as we like to call him. Total surfer dude, total douchebag, but the smell...
Right. The smell was what it was.
Skin against skin, because I'm all about the skin again. I don't like no hair on the chest. And
right.
If they're chiseled and cut, and he was a surfer. I knew from the moment he walked to pick me up at the front door, wrong guy, anti-guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to break my heart every which way. He was like that Taylor Swift song, Trouble, right?
Right. You're totally
still
conscious
went out with him,
of it.
Still slept with him, still broke my heart in 3 months. It was like, what was I thinking, right?
Right, but that's the crazy thing is I'm completely and totally conscious.
Right.
Because I'm like, otherwise this guy's a prick.
Right, so what I said to you is biology is ruling the roost. That's the chemistry component. So that's the caveman, where the caveman, as fun as strange as it is, the head of the clan was like the matchmaker. He would say the survival of the fittest, the best-looking people would mate up because they looked healthy. Healthy means more children for the clan. And so the two sexual beings would made up. Didn't matter whether they liked each other or not, and that was the basis of the relationship. So it goes back to the DNA to prehistoric times. It's a very animalistic nature. In the wild, when the animals send off a scent, to mate, it's a mating season, the women lionesses come and parade in front of the male lion, saying, here I am, pick me. They're waiting to be claimed. Wasn't that dating for women? We're waiting to be claimed.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So it goes back to our DNA, and it has a lot to do with our chemistry.
Well,
Nobody ever talks about it. There's a great book called The Alchemy of Love. You should check it out. It's an amazing book about the science of attraction.
Right, because the next guy completely smelt wrong, and he was doomed from the start, even though he was the better choice. He was great, just probably the best boyfriend I had, but I did not have that attraction to him.
Okay, so I had that with my fiancé. 7 years, best friends, could snuggle, cuddle, but I didn't want to.
Right.
And so so what you need to do is take a check. You need the balance of the yin and the yang, which is very much what most women need, but most women will give up the other for somebody who can financially take care of them, give them security.
Right.
So I need to be nurtured, but I also need hot heat sex. It'll go up and down, the temperature of your sex, over lifetimes. I mean, you're never going to have it as good in the beginning as you do later, because that's the way we take people for granted as we live with them, and we take sex for granted. But you need the balance of the yin and the yang, which is I want to be nurtured like a woman would nurture me, and then I also want to be made love to like a man would make love to me. And so you wouldn't be satisfied unless you had both.
Right.
So you have to find an androgynous man, which is very unusual. He might have a little smidgen of femme with his masculine, but not enough, to look too much.
Interesting. That's what I've always thought. I need to go for neutral.
Right. So he might want to go shopping with you at the mall and love to dress you, but at the same time he looks rugged, in a suit. You know what I'm saying? He's not 100%. He's there's 10% of him that's a little feminine, and that'll give you the nurturing that you need. Because if you just had knockdown, drag-out, masculine, rugged sex, you'd be miserable because that won't be enough either.
No.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you, Patty.
Yeah. So now, have you ever been married, Barb?
No.
Okay.
But see, that has to do.
That was an interesting. No.
Well,
Okay, so she doesn't want to be married.
no, I really do.
Not the way your vibration just emanated. I mean, Tara and I are psychic. We can read you in 2 seconds.
Right, but I think
so you don't go, no. You go,
well,
no,
no, with anybody I dated before. That's kind of the no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a tell there, though. We have to go to the tell, okay? So if somebody said to you, have you been married? You go, no, I haven't, but I'd love to. No. Okay, so you have to take a check on that for yourself.
Right.
And say, are you repelling people that would want to marry you into people that just want to play with you? So tonight's homework assignment is to say, maybe I am, and what am I doing? And then you're going to go into clarity zone. Tara will probably help you. And you're going to figure out what's the block, because there's a block. There's a block.
Oh, yeah.
There's a block because you are putting up this, I'm so together, I'm so independent, I don't need anyone. And it's not about need, it's about desire. Need is a bad word. Need is I am helpless Annie. Desire is, oh my God, I'm together, but I'd really love to be with someone. It's feminine, and it's a soft place to fall. It's very sweet.
Right.
Coming from, I'm so strong, I don't need anyone.
Right. That sounds good. I've got my homework
zone, but I loved when Patty's voice went into that sexy, that's kind of, we have to remember to be in the zone.
Right. No, then that gave me a perfect example. I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to, I changed my thinking.
Right, and the thing with you is stop speaking first when you meet men in bars and restaurants unless they ask you for the time or something. Don't be the man in the relationship and then switch to feminine. I have a feeling you confuse them. You start out masculine, you go to feminine, then you go back to masculine, and I don't know who you are.
Okay.
So I would say start out feminine. Don't speak as much.
Okay.
Use your 90% of nonverbal language to lure the guy in, which is, body language. We don't really speak with body language. And then signal and smile like the 5-second flirt. It's on my single-girls-handbook.com. And then what will happen is you'll learn to do less to get what you want. You're doing way too much to get the guy.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Stop working. It is his job to hunt you down. If he can't hunt you, he's not a guy, a man rather. He's a boy. You want a man. That's what separates the men from the boys. It might be less people that come your way, but the quality will rise. It's not about thousands of them. You're not a movie star. It's about one and getting it done.
Right. Well, and isn't that interesting, because that's what was my approach probably up until my mid-30s. Mm-hmm. Never had a problem. And then after that, I don't know, something switched.
Okay, so you probably get more into work. So what we found out in studies that we've done is that women who work 2-3 jobs, top of their career, like people who are really very powerful at their job, have put their masculine foot forward as a female at work, and it's very hard for them to switch it off at the end of the day. They think they're switching it off, but they're really not. Internally, the vibration is still masculine, and that's the hard part, because you become so self-sufficient. Now, what happens is men are becoming feminine. There's even studies that say that the bottled water that we are drinking has estrogen in the plastic, and that I always think California has more female men than ever before, even though they look good on the outside. They're still little wimpy babies on the inside, probably because they drink more plastic water than anybody else.
Right.
And so
I've thought that too.
Yeah, me and Tara have talked about that extensively. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is women become men become women, and there's the hiccup. You're being forced into a role you don't want to be. And the only way to do it is to retain your feminine, which is to switch it off at the end of the day, come home, take a glass of wine, okay, and get into your feminine space. It's easier on the weekends because you don't work as much, but what happens is you're confusing the men, and the wrong men are coming forward because they're responding to the masculine, not the feminine. You've got to amp the feminine up and downplay the masculine. That means doing less, speaking less, being Venusian, being total Venus, Aphrodite, okay? So you don't want to
be the mystery.
Yeah. It's not even a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an allure, and mystery is what guys like, but once they crack the mystery, you're back to square one. It's about, I'm not going to pick up this ass. He asked me for one. I would like to be picked up. Thank you for picking me up. Letting him lead in conversation. For every 3 questions, you ask 1. You're not talking as much. You're seducing with your body, your mind, and your spirit. Now, the feminists are going to come at you after this radio show and crucify me for saying this. But I'm sorry. This is biology. This has nothing to do with feminism. We're not turning the clock back 100 years, okay? What we're doing is saying men respond to feminine energy when they're masculine energy. They don't respond to their own kind, which is masculine energy.
Well, thank you.
This has nothing to do with
it's totally true. It's totally true. When I've played it that way, it's been much more. I don't know. They just back down if I become the inquisitor and all of that.
Okay,
right.
Let me ask you a question. When you go to a job interview, actually better yet, when you interview somebody to work for you, right? You're interviewing a person.
Right.
You ask questions, maybe 1 or 2, but you really want them to reveal themselves in a job interview. So you sit back and you listen and you relax and you see if they're the right candidate for the job, right?
Right.
You need to do the same thing when you're dating.
Oh, I do?
They got to earn you.
Okay.
So think of you as interviewing the applicant, okay? You're the interviewer on the date. Do you even want this guy? Is he even worth your affection? Sit back and relax and listen. Don't give so much away. And 2 tequilas will do that. You know what I mean? Once you start doing hard alcohol and you try to take your top off, that's not the way. So you want to be able to be clear-headed. You can have wine, a mellow drink, and just get into the zone of, is this guy worthy of your affections? What do you think about them? Not what do they think about you. What do you think about them?
Yeah, Patti has a new signature wine
as
well.
Coming up for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Patti.
Thank you so much. So in the meantime, you have a lot of work to do to switch your energy to the place of Venus. Read up on Venus and Aphrodite. Read up on the just like the analysis of it. I'm sure there'll be a great thing on Wikipedia on it. And see where Venus and Aphrodite lured men in. Cleopatra had it, Nefertiti had it. They all had this X factor because they knew that less is more. You don't have to work so hard.
Well, I think coming into your womanly, center, I think is part of being, all female as far as even the feminist movement. It's not being a male.
No, but we're talking about men and
owning
women.
your womanhood.
Right. We're talking about mating. We're not talking about getting a job. We're talking about mating. So when you're getting a job, you're in masculine energy because you're winning. But when you're in feminine energy and you're dating or to mate or marry, you are really wanting to do less. And there's a reason why. My mother will tell you a very funny story. She said,
okay.
the more you do...
We only have a minute left,
okay,
and I want everybody to be able to find Patti.
The more you do for a man, the more he's going to expect you to do for him. And Tara knows exactly what I mean.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done.
Anyway, millionairesclub123.com.
Millionairesclub123.com. Thanks for having me. Love you guys. Have a great day. Okay. Happy Friday. TGIF.
Okay, blessings and love, everyone. Okay, blessings, everyone.
Thank you for sharing your time with Tara Sutphen. Find out more about Tara's work, upcoming seminars, and meditations to help you fulfill your dreams by visiting her website at tarasutphen.com.